Well, anyone who's had to sit through an excruciating meeting with lots of data, graphs, and PowerPoints might think there's really not a lot to laugh about here. But our next guest found the humor, put it in a show, and made it to the finals on America's Got Talent. Don McMillan, he's coming to Grand Rapids next week, joining us via Zoom from sunny California this morning. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. How you doing? I hear it's nice there, though. I hear it's nice in Grand Rapids.
It is beautiful right now. You picked the perfect time to make your trip to West Michigan. So, tell us what you're bringing with us. Tell us about your shtick.
Well, yeah, I used to be an engineer, which, never, when people hear engineer, they never think funny. So I start with a very low bar, okay? Nobody ever meets an engineer and goes, oh, tell us a joke. That never happens. Right. So immediately people don't expect a lot. And then I go, well, my comedy's not like everybody else. I have charts and graphs and all this stuff. And I basically take everyday life, kind of like Seinfeld or somebody like that, but I graph and chart it. I have a graph about me and my wife shopping. I have a graph about, I have an argument flow chart, okay, she says this and I say that. And it's, I always say it's for engineers and nerds and people who love them, which is pretty much everybody now. So
exactly, right? Having the visual aids that we all need for everything, essentially. So talk about, the transition. What made you decide to go from engineer to comedian?
Well, my standard joke, and it's not completely untrue, by the way. I was at my old engineering job. I was a chip designer in Silicon Valley in San Jose back in the 80s during when that was huge. And I always say my boss looked at me and said, "What are you, some kind of comedian?" And I thought it was career advice. But I was the funniest engineer in our company, and that if you can make engineers laugh, you can make a lot of people laugh. There are tough crowd engineers. So that was kind of the beginnings of my comedy.
I love that. I love that. So talk to us about, what you love about using all of these things that we consider work and that we are dealing with every single day and making funny stuff out of it.
I think, they always say, don't analyze comedy, but, people, there's a tenseness when somebody puts one of my biggest, I had 30 million views of this one graph about what not to do in PowerPoint. Don't put all the words on your slide. Don't have a million bullet points. And people, when they see that, they immediately tense up. They go, why is this person's driving me crazy? And when I did it, everybody was like, yes, we hate that. Keep telling people not to do that. So I became the best. I mean, I don't know how many young people come up and they go, we had to watch your video in my high school multimedia class in order not to make mistakes in PowerPoint. And I'm like, dude, that's great. Not only did you get a laugh, but hopefully PowerPoint's going to get better. So I'm doing a public service on top of everything else.
I was going to say, I'm like, you're helping us all out at the same time. Here's what not to do, right?
Exactly.
Wonderful. Tell us about your experience on America's Got Talent. Was that a little nerve-wracking for you?
Oh, that was amazing. It was if you watch the shows, if you're an AGT fan, my first audition, I did a chart about the difference between a geek and a nerd and an engineer, and I used a Venn diagram, which I thought everybody knew what Venn diagrams were because I'm a nerd and I think everybody knows what Venn diagrams are. But Simon didn't like me. He didn't like me. He said, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And I'm like, oh, man. And the crowd loved it. The crowd was cheering and they were singing, and they started chanting, put him through, put him through. So I had this nerd movement of nerds who shouted down Simon. And so I got 3 votes, and then I made it to the next round. And I was one of the few people to ever, Simon Cowell looked at me and said, you know what, Don, I was wrong. You should be here. And Heidi Klum freaked out and hit him and went, you never say you're wrong. And it was a great moment. It was a great moment.
Man, vindication with Simon Cowell. Yes. Love it.
Yeah. And he, by the way, is a sweet man. He came up to the afterwards. He goes, I was in a bad mood that day. I don't know what happened. But they were very supportive. Everybody on AGT was very supportive. I loved my experience there.
Wonderful. And you are taking the show on the road, and you are going to be here next week. And I love this. Yep. This is a chance for someone to learn something and laugh at the same time. Right?
I always tell people you can write off my ticket cost as a continuing education deduction on your taxes. So,
all right.
You'll learn rules of physics, you'll learn math, you'll laugh a lot. So there you go.
I love it. Sold. Absolutely. Just don't run it by HR before you expense it.
No.
All right. Well, Don McMillan, he is going to the Wealthy Theater August 8th, 7:30 p.m. Tickets, $25. You want to get yours, madhattershows.com.